He's like, no, your sled is on fire. And I look down and like, dude, up in flames.
You are listening to the Bomb Hole.
Bomb Hole Podcast.
It's going to be very hot. It's going to be very uncomfortable for everybody.
The Bomb Hole.
I'm gonna slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
Okay, here we go. Another week, another bomb hole. Stony Buds, how are we doing, my friend?
Doing good today, dog.
I love hearing that you're doing good.
Feeling
doing
good.
well would
Doing
actually
well.
be the proper English.
Yeah, that would be proper.
Well, today we have Hailey Langland in the booth. What's going on, Hailey?
Not much, just hanging out with my two bros.
Hanging out with the broskies. Well, I kind of want to get right into it. Basically, I know that you're from SoCal, and I know your pops had a big role in your snowboarding. Like, how did your dad help you forge your path in snowboarding?
Well, he got me started when I was really young. I was 5. I started at Big Bear Mountain, California, just kind of like the local SoCal zone to go to. And we used to drive up every single weekend. And yeah, he just took me up there. I'm pretty sure I hated it at first. You know, no 5-year-old wants to be in the snow when it's freezing. But, I mean, I just saw how much he loved snowboarding. And growing up, I wanted to do whatever my dad did. So, like, I grew up BMXing. I grew up, like, dirt biking, playing basketball, like, a bunch of dude sports, kind of. And so snowboarding really stuck with me. And I just wanted to do it because he loved it so much.
And it sounds like he kind of schooled you on some knowledge at a young age. We were talking videos. And what was the first video that he schooled you on?
The first video he ever showed me was The Hard, Hungry, and the Homeless, which is, I mean, I've never seen a snowboard movie older than that. I don't even know if there are any that are older than that. But
there are some.
You could
Are
ask
there?
Buds. He
Yeah.
would know.
There definitely are some, but that one
Yeah.
was like the one. That's the one that got me stoked to spend my life and focused on snowboarding.
totally,
Chris,
yeah.
you ever seen that one, bud?
I am unfamiliar. My cloud is tanking right now.
That's
Street credibility. I haven't
Dude.
seen it.
We need to get you on that
Yeah.
because it really is the movie that got kind of jibbing going, really.
Totally, yeah. I mean, like, Russell Winfield's in it, and, you know, like,
Dale and Roan. And
Dale, yeah, and Brushy's in it, too, which is
it's just
sick.
insane.
Yeah, Noah Selaznick was in it, and he was, like, my dad's favorite snowboarder.
Do you know how much your street cred is going up with the old heads right
Yeah,
now?
the fact that you know what that is.
There is like your stock is just going through the roof with the old heads. Just
Well, thank you, Dad, for that one. But, yeah, so funny.
Chris's is going down
Mine's
and yours is going up.
people are selling their stocks. NASDAQ is going crazy right now. Everybody's selling.
That's dope. And your dad, you told us he met Noah Selaznick too, huh? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty funny story. Like, my dad going up to Mount Hood with all those dudes up there and, like, shredding with his homies. And one of the days it was just pissing rain on the mountain, so they all went to City Skates in Portland, which is, like, an indoor skate park. And he said that there was, like, a 12-foot vert ramp, and they're all standing on top of it. And Noah Selaznick and Steve Graham are up there, and my dad's, like, kind of scared to drop in, and I guess those dudes were just kind of like, you guys have got to go for it. My dad knew those dudes because a lot of them lived in Tahoe, and that's where my dad lived at the time, and so he was like, there's no way I'm showing face without doing this in front of these dudes. So he drops in, like, foot comes off the front end of the board and, like, eats shit on the flat bottom, and, like, he just, like, looks over, there's, like, a picnic table to the right, and Jana Mayan's sitting there, and he was like, when I looked at her, I literally thought my soul left my body. Like, it's one of the funniest stories, and, like,
Just getting bodied in front of your heroes.
yeah,
I'm sure they respected it though, more than if he didn't do it. So
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad, I mean, he wasn't, like, embarrassed or anything. My
Yeah.
dad was just like, I can't believe I just did that. But, yeah.
Now you mentioned something off camera earlier that your parents kind of put up everything for you to be able to snowboard and pursue this. Do you want to explain that? Because I have no idea about that.
Yeah, so I got started at a really young age, and I mean, snowboarding was on its way up. Like, Shaun White was a thing, and, like, people knew that you could make money, but my parents didn't see it that way. I just, like, loved snowboarding so much, and I was learning really quickly as I got older. And so my mom actually quit her job and they rented a house in Big Bear so I could just snowboard all year long. And my dad stayed back in Southern California down the hill and worked while I just like got to play all day and went into homeschooling. So that was really nice. I like pretty much had the whole day to just fuck around and snowboard.
Were you already showing talent, and that's why they were kind of doing this, or?
I don't think so. And I mean, not really. Like I wasn't that good. I just like I liked it, and my dad was just stoked because him growing up, he didn't have his parents' support, and so my dad was like, "Out, like even if this isn't anything, like I just want to make sure she has the best time."
He knows what it could be.
Let's give your dad
totally,
an
yeah.
horn
Shouts
for that.
to dad.
Maybe a gunshot too.
That's really cool.
Shouts to those supportive parents.
Yeah. I'm really lucky, and like I don't know, just hearing everyone else's story, it sounds like everyone growing up had the most supportive parents, so it's really cool, and I'm really stoked and thankful.
Well, and then it's kind of funny thinking about your natural progression in your career because it's like you won the X Games at age 16. So it's not like there's this long, like there's basically you want to paint that picture of coming from USASA and.
Yeah, well, I feel like my start into a pro career was just expedited. I pretty much grew up doing USASA contests and like rev tours until I was 13. And then as soon as I turned 14, I won one of the Grand Prix, which is a qualifier for the Olympics. And when I won it, it was actually a few months after the Sochi Olympics had just happened. So like I had beaten some girls that just went to the Olympics, and I had no idea because like I didn't really watch the Olympics. Like I had no idea. I just like watched snowboarding because it was fun, and I competed because it was fun. And then that year, I got invited to go to Dew Tour, and I don't know. It was crazy. My dad kind of said in front of me, he's like, "You cannot go to USASA as a 15-year-old. So like, if you want this to be for fun, let it be for fun. But if not, like, you need to kind of go ham." And so at that Dew Tour, I freaking laid it all out. Like I'd never competed in a pro event before, and like I got third that year, I think. And I mean, from there on, I went straight to X Games. Like a week after Dew Tour, I got an invite to X Games, and I got an invite to like the X Games in Norway, and like it was just event after event after event, and all televised too, which was super new to me.
That's a major jump up, and the major takeaway from your slopestyle run that I remember is the first girl to do a cab 10 double, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that story? You told me on the chairlift when we were riding mountain bikes. That was unbelievable.
Yeah. So this was my second X Games, and this is when they introduced Big Air back into Aspen. I'd never done a Big Air before, and I got the invite to be in the event, and I was stoked. But you know, this is a time where girls that I competed against were starting to do bigger tricks like doubles and you know things over nines, and I was kind of held back. I knew I didn't really have anything to compete with, so I mean I lazily got up to practice, and like as soon as I got up to the top though and I saw all those girls like hammering tricks out, I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to be that person to like waste a spot. I'm going to go and I'm going to try. And so I pretty much tried to learn cab 9s on the spot. Like I had cab 7s pretty good. Tried to like add one more rotation, and one of the times I went to try it, I went faster and I like slid off the lip really funny, and I ended up just doing a cab 10 double perfectly, like landing straight to my toes and riding away, and I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. So I mean, from then on I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna do that trick in the contest. And like I didn't have any other tricks, so I did my warm-up trick, which is the front 3, and then from then on, like I think it took me 3 tries to get that again, and it was a pretty gnarly contest for sure, because everyone after that was like, okay, we're all trying cab 10s then. Like Anna tried it after I did it, and like it was just a gnarly showdown for sure.
Just push the envelope for everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. It was really sick to be on the forefront of that, because I mean, like I wouldn't say I'm like super secure, but I know I'm a good snowboarder. But to just like whip it out, I was kind of like, I surprised myself for sure.
Yeah, that'll give you some confidence.
Yeah.
That'll get you going.
It definitely like fired me up. Yeah.
And the thing that's pretty cool too is I was asking you, like, you know, a lot of people, they practice their run like a routine, right? And you were I was picking your brain on that, and you were saying that basically you do a few cab 7s, and then you're like, okay, like you might not do a cab 10 in practice, right? You're just going to do cab 7s to get the feel. Is that correct?
Yeah, totally. Like I just think that, you know, if you over practice something, you might run out of your, I don't know, whatever it is, like good juice or good vibe or whatever it is. Like I feel like I know the trick pretty well, and I have learned over the years that your muscles have memory. So, you know, once you do something once, they'll remember it. And I mean, also it's like, why would you want to whip out your trick like at the beginning if everything's kind of calm? And so I love the pressure. So when girls are like throwing down, I'm like, all right, it's cab 10 time.
You know what I just realized? You are the Allen Iverson of snowboarding. I don't know if you're familiar with Allen Iverson.
No.
He's a basketball player, very famous, and he has a very famous quote where he talks about basically he skipped a practice, and you know, after talking to you yesterday, I actually found the soundbite of Allen Iverson from this quote because talking about missing practice. I'm just gonna play that real quick.
Talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
So he says, I'm sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, we're talking about practice, but it's super viral, and he was known for not practicing, but like doing really well in games. So I think we should try to get it to stick. I think we should try to make Hailey the Allen Iverson of snowboarding.
I'll take that. He sounds like a freaking G.
Yeah. Some great shoes, the AIs. He had a very, very popular basketball shoe.
Oh,
back in the
right
day.
on.
Yeah.
Nice.
So-
You never heard of him, huh?
No.
No.
Yeah, that's what happens. I guess when you learn cab 10s at 16, you might not know who Allen Iverson. Well, that also maybe dates us, though, because we're quite a bit older, right?
Yeah,
How old
true.
are you?
I'm 20.
You're 20. Okay, Buds is about 78.
Close to 78. And Chris is creeping on. I guess we discussed your age a couple.
I try to keep it
episodes ago.
secret.
Yeah,
But anyway, let's change the subject. So I want to circle back to this contest scene. And one thing a lot of these people don't know is that you guys have all these coaches and stuff like that. There's 3 dudes on each knuckle of the jump with headsets on. Shouts to Dave Reynolds. Cool as hell dudes. But like my one, like there's so much pressure, you know? So what I wonder is like, A, is it necessary? B, is it helpful? Like, what are the pros and cons of having all these coaches and all this pressure and all this shit?
I mean, it's definitely good to have eyes on the course at all times. It does become a little overwhelming, though, when you're standing up there and say you see someone, like, totally go way too big and eat shit, and then you've got your coach, like, with his earpiece in, like, yeah, line 3, maybe go a little slower, and you're like, really? Okay, yeah, maybe I will do that. And it's just, I don't know. For me, especially when I'm in that scene, I get very easily irritated, maybe is the best way to put it, because, I mean, I've been competing for so long, and, like, competition snowboarding isn't, like, just snowboarding for fun, and that's what I want to make it so badly. So when I have people like, oh, she just, like, did a blunt 2 on the rail, like, you should do that. I'm like, dude, forget what she did. I'll do something else. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do what feels the best for me. And I think that's when it gets a little too much, especially with the video cameras. You know, they're doing like video review afterward, and they're like trying to swipe on the iPad, and like the iPad's not loading, so you're standing up there forever. But
Well, they do video review like on the spot.
yeah, so we have this crazy thing with the U.S. team. They have like this tower that they stick in the snow, and we'll have someone film like the entire line, and it'll go straight to whoever's at the top with an iPad, and you can like go through, and they'll be marked like Hailey, Red, Brock, like everyone's got clips. Yeah, it's a little over the top for sure, and I think it takes a lot of the fun part out of the contest riding arena, and that's why I think some people don't agree with it.
And it's only for the U.S. team?
I know everyone's got
Everybody.
it. Yeah, all the countries
You
have
gotta
it.
see also the scene. Like U.S. team's tame. You're up there at the top. Like the Chinese coach is like, these guys seem aggro. Like the German.
Really?
Like there's some of the other coaches. You're like, they're like yelling in other languages. You're like, holy
It's
shit, what
just
the hell's
hectic,
going
huh?
on over
Yeah.
here?
How many
Pretty
coaches
much.
do you guys have?
On the U.S. team, we have 2, Dave Reynolds and Mike Ramirez.
Let's
They're-
give him an air horn. I'm
Yeah.
giving him an air
there's
horn.
3 coaches on the lip. It's like different countries and
Well, I thought there was 3 U.S., but maybe it's just one guy with a headset. I thought there was...
Yeah, and then, like, there's another coach that's down there, like, filming, but he's just more like our film guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it gets gnarly and hectic.
Hectic, yeah.
I mean, it's also, like, do we really want that stigma around us, you know? But, I mean, that's what it is now, so, like, kind of have to
You just have to deal with it.
I feel like I've been watching all these, like, ESPN 30 for 30s and, like, A Football Life and all these. I love watching, like, Netflix specials on coaches. And I feel like a coach's role is to be, like, a life mentor.
Yeah.
It's not to be like, you should probably take one less turn. It's like, just, like, be a good friend that shows you how to go through life.
Totally. And I think we have a good crew. Like, our coaches do have that absurd camera system, but they're like pretty down-to-earth people, and they're definitely there and have our backs. And I also work with James Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, he's definitely like mentor, life coach. Like, I feel more psych than anything, and I think that's what helps me the most during contests is just like, you know, there's so much going on, and then there's always so much pressure. Like 2 years ago at X Games, before I went up to go practice, before our contest, they had the TVs up and they're getting like ready for the live stream or whatever. And on it, there's a picture of my face and it says due for a podium. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what's happening. All right. And like, I've got that in the back of my head.
Due
and I'm
for
like,
a podium.
yeah. I'm like, oh, am I like, it made me sound old almost. I'm like, oh, am I not that good? But you know, it's hard having those things like deep down subconsciously. You're not thinking about it like at the front of your brain, but it's like still fresh in your mind, you know?
And if it's not, they're putting it in front of you, so it's
well, yeah,
it's
and
really
there's
fresh.
Everyone else who's gonna watch is like sitting there in the athlete tent around the TV, and they're all looking at you to see your reaction. And I'm just like,
great.
Well, gonna go have a great time. Like,
well, what they're really saying is like you're only as good as your last contest result, basically. And then the thing for me, I don't know about you, but the little kid inside of me, like when a coach or somebody's like, you need to do that. I'm such a stubborn prick, and I'm like, oh, you want me to do that? I'm actually going to do the opposite.
Me too.
Because I'm still like,
that's me, 100%. I'm like, oh, okay, nope, definitely not doing that.
I was going to
like,
do that, but now
Yes.
since
Yeah,
you
I
said
would
do
have.
that, I'm actually not going to do that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They got to start using
That's
reverse.
how snowboarders are in general.
Yeah.
They got to use reverse psychology. Be like, Hailey, I don't think you should cab 10 the last jump. Oh, you don't think I should?
Yeah, that's what they should do.
What are you trying to say, huh?
And then you'll go bust it out.
Exactly. Maybe that would work. Take some notes on that.
Another thing that is fascinating that I think maybe the people that watch X Games or Do Tour or competitive snowboarding online or on TV is that the fucking pace you're snowboarding at. I go through those courses when I go to Do Tour, and you're going like the same speed you'd be going for like a 50-foot kicker at rails. So like a rail dog like myself that's used to like snowboarding at like an average snowboard park pace is like, holy shit, these things are psycho. But you see Hailey come through, and she's like just lacing every rail, going Mach 100. How do you get so comfortable with that? It's just...
I mean, I couldn't really tell you how to specifically get comfortable charging at rails because it's gnarly. And like these rails at contests, dude, they're like 7 feet off the ground. Like if you fall off, you're breaking an ankle or like getting hurt for sure. I mean, I guess it's just the hope and pray that you get to the end of the rail. Like I was telling you, I think I have an easier time with it because I'm not scared to go fast at rails. And so I can just like do my trick over half the rail and slide like the last 3 to 4 feet, call it good, and like move on to the next. But I mean, I grew up riding fast. Like grew up riding with boys my whole life, basically until I was 15. Boys that were like 25 to 15 to 9. Like I just rode with a squad. Actually, Brandon Davis grew up riding at Big Bear, and I grew up riding with him and Drayden Gardner.
Nice.
Like, yeah, when I was super young. So, I mean, just to put that into perspective, like I rode with heavy dudes when I was young, and like Lucas Magoon and Chris Bradshaw would always be at the mountain
Couple
too.
air horns for those
Yeah.
guys. Maybe a gunshot too. There we go.
Lucas ever bark at you at the mountain?
Not to me directly, but he has at my crew for sure. And it's so funny because like, I don't know why I grew up thinking that like, I mean, my dad is covered in tattoos. So I am like, I look at a person no matter what they look like, and I'm like, you're just like probably the nicest person ever. I remember being at like the Trans Am events that they used to have. We had it in like the plaza at Big Bear, and Lucas Magoon was judging it, and he was handing out T-shirts for finalists. And I was so nervous because they had this box and then like this circle thing in front of us. He had to bonk the circle thing and land on the box. And I was so nervous to do it. And he was handing out T-shirts, and I'm like, hey, Lucas, like, how do I do that? And he goes, I don't know, go fast. And I'm like, okay, we'll do. I'm like charging up the hill, and I literally like go straight at this thing, like smash my nose on it, like somehow figure it out, land on the box and like right away. And I think the fact like that I actually did it, he was like, all right, here. And he gave me a T-shirt. And I went to the finals, but yeah, just like random.
The legend.
Yeah. I mean, like growing up, me and my crew, I think we definitely look to him and Chris as like those are the dudes we want to be. I mean, they're like cutting the line on weekends. Like they had the fast pass so they could like just go in whenever they wanted. Like we all wanted to be them.
They're the Big Bear OGs.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you look at the Midget Mafia, and it's like literally like 15 kids that are Junior Bacon, Chris Bradshaw, head to toe, baggy gear. Big Bear's got an incredible scene for that.
It's amazing people watching, really. I mean, you've got the bar right there, like this one chairlift, and then all the like beginner chairlifts too. So it's just like just a whole SoCal mess.
Yeah, there's some
beautiful.
wild people that go up there, huh?
Yeah.
Good
For
people
sure.
watching.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's that time, buds.
Name that video part.
Yes, it is. You might have to throw the headphones on.
Oh,
For the listeners, Hailey opted out of the headphones. So she's missing out on a lot of air horns and things like that.
Oh, that's right. She can't hear the air horns.
I'm imagining it.
Imagining them? That's all you got to do.
If you could actually make your own every time, that would be ideal. Okay, we are doing a little Name That Video part presented by the Do Tour. Great event. I think you mentioned earlier you start your first major podium at a Do Tour.
Yes. Yep. First one.
It all comes full circle. Now you're sitting in a garage with me and Stony Buds
Yep.
on a podcast
Perfect.
sponsored by the Do Tour.
Yeah.
Thank you, Do Tour.
Okay, how confident are you feeling right now?
I want to say good, but I'm going to go with a 0.5.
Wow, 0.5.
0.5.
That's the lowest score we've recorded yet. We got to make like a graph of all the
Little
levels.
graph.
Okay, here we go. Young Hales.
I'm not the kind that likes to tell you just what I want to.
Oh my gosh, I know it, but
We can play it again if you want.
yeah.
I'm not the kind that likes to tell you just what I want to.
I'm spacing so hard on the name right now.
Let's say it was a movie that we talked about in our text chain last night.
Is it it's not one of the Transworld movies, is it? No. It's not that either.
It is that.
Oh, it is that. Okay. Oh my gosh, I feel so dumb right now.
Let's say he's affiliated with DC currently and he lives near you.
That's Ika, isn't
Yeah.
it? Oh, you know what's so funny is I had a dream last night that you gave me Ika's part, and
What?
I should have listened. I should have
crazy.
listened.
You had the dream. You had a premonition.
I did. Oh,
We're
I
going to
should have
count
listened.
that as a win.
Yeah.
What we have
Especially
here
if you dreamt it.
is an
That's
Igloo
amazing.
prize pack.
Oh my gosh,
She
you
gets
guys.
the cooler. She might have needed a little nudge, but we're going to count that as a W.
I appreciate the help, really.
It's,
Thank you.
It's filled
Worth
with,
it.
we got a bomb hole t-shirt. I'm guessing your size small. We got a mug. We got some stickers. And we got a Stony Buds air freshener. So
Oh, nice.
all of which are available at bombhole.com if you're trying to come up, as well as some signed prints of Hailey.
yeah.
So
Y'all need this air freshener. Seriously, it is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
and it does not smell like cheddar biscuits. We've been asked. It smells great. It's new car smell actually. So make your whip smell nice and clean. So
you don't want your car smelling like cheddar biscuits.
no, you don't. You do not. So for part 2 of Name That Video part, for the listener viewers, comment on the photo of Hailey on our IG if you know it, and you'll get a prize pack if you're the first one to get the right answer. Here we go. That was short. We make it hard for these guys. They're good. And we would like to say thank you for playing a little bit of...
Good song, though. Well, Black Rob, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys for playing Name That Video Part. We are back with the Allen Iverson of snowboarding, Hailey Langland. Basically, what I want to talk about is the Olympics in Korea. It looked incredible for the men, but the women's event looked like an absolute shitstorm.
Yeah.
A windy shitstorm.
It was a windy shitstorm. You want to paint the picture of what that event was like and everything?
Like you said, basically a shit show from the beginning. The men competed the day before us, and we knew the weather was coming in, so all of us were, like all the ladies, we were trying to get together and ask if we could stall like a day or two, because we had 4 days after we competed until the skiers competed, and so we figured we could just, hop in on one of those days, but because of, the allocated TV times, they weren't able to change it, so we went in like 80-mile-an-hour windstorms, which was pretty gnarly to say the least, and it was an experience for sure, but it was fun. I mean, the course was like a video game. Like, the jumps were huge, the rails they felt like 20 feet tall, and it was just like insane.
So, 80 mile per hour.
Yeah.
It looked straight up dangerous from a spectator. I remember watching it being like, this is fucking bullshit that they're running this event right now. And do you feel like if it was a men's event, do you think they would have changed it?
Partly, yeah. Part of me definitely wants to say that they would, for sure. Sometimes the girls kind of get screwed over. Like in years past, we've had to go when the weather's super shitty, like for our qualifier, and then like the men will get postponed and not qualify and go when it's super nice, and so just weird things like that. But ever since the Olympics, it's totally changed. Like, the men have definitely gone in conditions that they can ride in, but are still like not, conditions that we could ride in. So they'll switch it around for us, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. That's just such a damn shame. As far as competitive snowboarding, the Olympics is the highest bar, the highest caliber event, and you worked so hard for 4 years, and then you got 80-mile-an-hour winds, and it's just got to be be disheartening.
Totally. I feel like all the girls were robbed of a really good Olympic experience, and just watching the previous Olympic games, the women's slopestyle, like the level was pretty good. It was pretty like standard with what you were seeing at that time, but I mean, from then until the Pyeongchang games, it had gotten exponentially higher. Like, girls are doing doubles consecutively. Like, it was getting really gnarly. It was like watching a men's event almost. Like, it was getting serious, and anyone could have won, which I think is really cool about women's snowboarding, is that there's no absolute number one.
I think a lot of people maybe feel the same way as me, but I think women's is more exciting a lot of times to watch.
Me too. I enjoyed it way more.
I mean, it depends on who you're watching. Like, I have my favorites, like I like Mark Mick or Red, but some of the dudes look, like take somebody like Max Perot or something, like that dude, to me, it looks like gymnastic.
Yeah,
it's like he pops,
I don't even,
and then it's like a tuck, and you're like, okay, like that to me is a bad representation of snowboarding. But the women putting up double corks and just like going big, it's just like it's more fun to watch, maybe more relatable.
It seems more relatable and more fun to me.
Totally. And I think that a lot of the girls now too that are progressing, they're bringing more style into it, because they know that, like things that Max is doing, while it's great, it's not what like judges want to see or what people want to see. Like, it doesn't look as good as like a back 10 with a comfortable indie will ever look, besides like a back 10 mute. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone hates back 10 mute now because it's just so overdone.
Yeah, it's so overdone.
Everyone can do it, but I mean, that's the cool thing about women's snowboarding, is that also we all have our own individual styles. Like, I think some girls definitely have like tougher, like meaner, like styles like dudes, and then some of them are just like their own feminine style, which is so cool to see, and I think that's really rad. But yeah, I think we all totally got robbed, which is super shitty, because you know, you see those comments on, not that it matters, but like people are always trying to put like the women like lower than the guys, you know. There's always comments like, oh, this is why, you know, women aren't getting paid as much and why they shouldn't get paid as much. But, you know, it's just like, fuck, if you give us the chance, like we can show you all that we definitely do deserve it, you know? Yeah.
100%.
Were you guys all complaining about it? Like, not complaining, but just like, man, this sucks.
Yeah, we all like gathered at the top and tried to like
Postpone it or
postpone. Yeah, like we did our best and it did. It got postponed for like an hour or two, which is a lot of time for TV. And so like it was just crazy that the fact that they still run it. Like I think I left to go to the bathroom at the bottom of the hill, came back up, and the guy was like, all right, you're starting. And I'm like,
Jeez.
I'm like, really?
No time
Okay.
to prepare.
Okay, we're doing the Olympics now.
We got 2 practice runs before competing, which is gnarly. That doesn't happen anywhere.
Personally, I love gambling, okay? I'm in a fantasy football league. I like to put money on the New England Patriots at times or whatever, right? And fantasy football is great. It's fun. But is there a fantasy slope style league? Because I would like to
Dude, there probably
join
is
one.
in Vegas, man. I swear they
I would
bet
love
on
to
everything.
gamble on the slope style circuit. Does
Oh,
anybody know?
yeah.
Does that exist? Or
I don't know if it does, but it should exist. Like, I think that would be so fun.
have a draft?
I
Yeah.
swear they bet
You
on
got to have a
everything.
few women, a few men. You know, maybe you get like three picks or something like that, or you get 3 men, 3 women, or I don't know how many are the top 20. I guess out of 20, depending on how many people are in your league. But somebody should figure out an app, start a fantasy slope style fantasy half pipe league, and get at us. And
It's not really a team sport, though. Does it work?
No, I mean, it doesn't. That's how
Doesn't
fantasy doesn't matter with the teams.
Ah, okay.
You just pick your guys.
All
you
right.
know.
I've never
So-
done it, so I guess I
Yeah.
didn't know.
I hear a lot about this fantasy league so much because of, you know, Red's in it with you. And
Red beat
Oh,
me.
Red's on
Red
it
beat
too?
me last week. This week, I got OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., and I benched him because he was only putting up 8 points a game, and he was the number 1 player in fantasy last week, and he was sitting on my bench. He earned 0 points for my team. I was actually devastated.
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, we don't need to go too deep down this wormhole, but
A lot of people do, though, I'm sure.
yeah. So regardless, yeah, Red beat me last week, but like for example, I would love to have a draft and be like, yeah, I'm gonna take Red's first pick, women first pick, Hailey. Let's go. You know what I mean?
that would be sick. Yeah,
That would be pretty
Who would
fun.
have high fantasy points in the slope style?
definitely Red. Red's going to have some high ones. And then I want to say like way out there, but probably Danny or Yuto for half pipe. Like those, I bet they would duke it out for points. I mean, especially if it was style based, Danny would win every time. But yeah.
What about Mark Mix? Probably he'd have a good rating.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. High up there. People are just going to be scrambling for those first
Yeah.
picks.
Those first picks are gonna
That'd be a
huge.
fun app, dude.
And then online gambling's legal now in a lot of states.
Oh, true,
And
huh?
so
I
that's a
forgot
whole
about
new
that.
market. Yeah. So anyway, I think we should get on the forefront of this. I'd like to invest.
In somebody's program and get it going.
I would like to do that. So,
I'll invest in the streets, too. We could get the streets going.
like, what? Just do it on the low?
Yeah.
Sketchy. The
Street riding.
Street riding.
Under the table.
How's that work?
I don't
bud?
know. Maybe real snow?
Oh, yeah, you can
Yeah,
gamble
you
on
can do
real
it
snow.
real snow.
Yeah. Tough when there's only eight picks, though.
Yeah, that makes it harder. I don't
Yeah,
even
it's
know
a
how
tough-
it
It's
works.
a tough
Yeah.
game.
I have no idea.
Well, another thing that's cool to talk about this contest thing, not to get off whatever.
Off
I
topic.
keep bringing it back, but I think it fascinates me. 'Cause a lot of people don't realize you guys snowboard for like 1 hour a day. You know, normal people go snowboard all day. For the contest, it's like, okay, practice was from 11 to 12 or something, right?
Yeah, totally.
And that's
That's
it.
true, huh? I never even thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, our days are pretty short. Definitely when we're competing, like you only get an hour and a half of practice, and maybe they have like a 15-minute rake session, and then you have an hour after that. But I mean, like riding a slopestyle course, especially to this magnitude now, it's so tiring. And so like I'll go for maybe half the practice, like because it's just so gnarly. Like the jumps are huge. You're trying to figure out the speed and figure out the course. You're probably getting worked. Like at US Open this year, I probably had the worst practice I've ever had. I like totally clipped this rail, like smashed my hip into the front of it, and then on the way down to the course, I board slid a rail and like slid off on my heels and pulled a stomach muscle. And then broke my thumb somehow. And it was enough for me. So
Once again, Allen Iverson is snowboarding.
Doesn't even like to practice.
I'm just going to start not practicing from now on. Just start doing like
skip it.
mandatory cab nines like Zach and
do one
Sage.
roll through just to check out the course. And
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it gets tiring, and yeah, I would love to spend a whole day on course, but I really don't think I could do it. Like,
you'd just be too beat.
Yeah, it's too much.
You can't hit jumps that big. And like if you were to hit a slopestyle course for 6 hours, you're like almost 100% chance of like being done ski.
Yeah,
exactly.
you get worked.
Yeah.
So once again, Allen Iverson of snowboarding. What I was wondering is, who are the influences for you as far as females, women that you look up to in snowboarding, or are inspired by?
Growing up, and still to this day, definitely Kimi Fasani. She's just a big shout out. Yeah, she's so sick. The first time I ever heard of her was when I was 8 or 9, and Transworld had just come out with these trick tip movies. It was like 20 trick tip, and she did a cab 5, which is one of the first tricks I ever learned. And I just think she's total badass. And now I'd say Zoe Sinnott is I talk about her all the time. She's just so sick. Like, she has a dude style. It's so good. She actually just posted like one of her first back tens the other day. She's down in New Zealand, and it's so good. Like, you could totally compare it to guys, and like if you showed anyone who'd had no idea who she was, you'd be like, who's that dude? Like, it's insane. Probably her. And Victoria DeLuise is definitely a big.
Let's give her an air horn.
Yeah,
nice.
Definitely.
You know who that is, Chris?
I do, but I'm not well versed. I remember when I was a kid. I'm not going to get into it.
That's okay. She's like been, especially now since I've gotten my feet in the backcountry a little bit, she's become a pretty big inspiration for me on that side of snowboarding. And I'm trying to like find a way where I can take her style and bring it to like contest snowboarding, because I think that's
awesome.
That's the next move for women's slopestyle, is becoming more progressive with style. And her style is so timeless too. Everyone still talks about it, and like she had a great method too, which is, I feel like, pretty important as well.
For sure.
For photog like Buds, he's a big fan of a good method.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Always like a method. So what's going to happen this year with competition? Is everything looking to pan out normally?
I mean,
or we don't even know yet?
I've heard some things, like it's here or there. There's talk of doing like kind of like the NBA bubble right now, like doing 3 stops. So we'll all travel to one place, quarantine, and then do like a few contests there, and then move on to the next place. So I think it's going to be like a Europe, North America, and Asia tour. But I mean, that was the last I heard, and that was months ago.
That makes sense.
It changes every day. I would not be mad if it all just got canceled and I got to go film. Yeah,
that would be tight.
That I think after this next Olympics, I hope I make it, but I think that's the avenue that I want to take my snowboarding.
That's awesome. Get a video part.
Yeah. I've never gotten to film a video part, so that would be like really huge for me.
That's cool. Sponsors will be cool with it?
Yeah, I'm so lucky. I have the best sponsors.
Down.
I know, and like everyone says it, but I really truly feel like I have the best sponsors. I mean, I've got Seth Hewitt as a TM. He's badass.
Damn air horn.
Yeah, exactly. And just listening to his bomb hole and like interacting with him, and I definitely reach out to him about like snowboarding stuff too. Like just hearing what he has to say helps a lot.
Good advice from Seth. Huh?
And then as far as, getting into backcountry and that transition, I heard that you guys did some type of Red Bull backcountry training course or something like that.
Yeah, it was really cool. The first year that I got onto Red Bull, I got on them in December. And so that following January, they set up a camp to Jackson Hole. And like we got to meet up with Travis Rice, who's obviously like the god of the backcountry.
T. Ricky.
Yeah. Yep. Like insane.
Actually left me on red recently. I sent him a text. He didn't reply. But anyway, continue. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right. I don't know if that's a burn or a hate, you know?
No, it's a burn. And yeah, roasted. I got roasted by T. Ricky. But it's not about, let's continue.
But yeah, they like set up this amazing camp where we got to do, it was a whole week long. We did 3 days of avalanche training on the mountain at Jackson Hole. And then we spent the last 2 days just screwing around on snowmobiles. It was awesome. I learned so much at that camp, and it was a really cool place to be because they took not just snowboard athletes but ski athletes as well. And then we even had Ian Walsh. He's a pro surfer from Hawaii, like pro big wave surfer, gnarly dude, and he even came out and was there doing the training courses with us too. Like, wow. We learned how to save people from crevasses, resuscitate, like first aid, all the essential stuff. And it was a really cool course, especially because this was the year after Brock Crouch was in his accident, and like having him there to really, you know, he was in one himself, and like Travis obviously too, like it put everything in perspective. Like, people really don't know how gnarly it is to just go into the backcountry. There's so much that goes into it and that's around it, and you know, you really shouldn't go into the backcountry if you're not educated in the slightest bit, for sure. And
people do. I think
yeah.
they get lucky, which is awesome, but yeah, they really should.
Yeah.
That's cool. Red Bull just set that up, and
yeah, it was awesome, and it was such a cool program, and like they really care about us, like especially the snowboard athletes moving on and maybe not competing again, but like, you know, if we want to move on to filming and stuff, we have the assets to, you know, be ready to go and make that move.
And then you were talking about rehabbing your shoulder. I know you've had a brutal injury prone to shoulder.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that, and then what they did to facilitate the rehab process of that?
Yeah, so I've had 2 surgeries on my right shoulder now. I first dislocated it actually in Utah with E-Stone. He was there.
Wasn't my fault though.
No, it wasn't his fault.
He didn't tell you to do it again? That's a classic.
Never.
It wasn't a do it again?
It wasn't E-Stone that told me to do it again. It was someone else. But
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was someone else. It wasn't me.
Wait, let's throw him under the bus. Who are we talking?
I can't even remember.
I would love to throw him under the bus. Let's do it.
Well, I mean, it really was not her fault. Mia Danielle, she's amazing, great filmer.
Yeah.
She's the one that
Let's
really,
give her an air horn.
Yeah, give her an air horn. She like fueled my obsession with the backcountry. She invited me to come with you guys on beta, and like I only love the backcountry now, and I'm pretty sure it's because of her. Like helping me get in there, like letting me borrow beacons and everything. But it was like this sketchy little cliff drop, and the snow was super sun-baked.
Yeah, it was kind of not enough powder to be really that soft. It was like dust on crust kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd been like kind of jumping off it, and it was all right. And I went to do like cab 1, grab, and I landed, and I just put my arm back, and it just dust on crust. My arm popped out. Yeah. That's the first time it ever popped out. And then from there on, I just had gnarly shoulder problems. Like that summer I went surfing, and it popped out 7 times when I literally would just like jump off my board into the water. And so I had my first surgery in July 2018, I'm pretty sure. And then did rehab, all good. Got on Red Bull that next season, and then dislocated again in March. And so that time I got it done by the same surgeon again. And it was really gnarly. They like took this tendon and wrapped it around a bunch of stuff to try and keep it in the capsule, I guess. And like my labrum was just shredded. Like from, imagine a clock, from 10 to 2 o'clock, I shredded like the entire thing. So I had only like barely enough labrum to even hold my shoulder. And so I got that done. And then like, I mean, being on Red Bull has been so amazing. They have so many different outlets to like, you know, they just started a program with mental health and everything. And they have a physical therapy and gym in Santa Monica. And that's what I was using after my surgery. I went up 2 days after my surgery. Like I'm still on all these like pills and drugs because it's freaking gnarly surgery. And they just started working on me right then and there. Like they had this crazy radiation thing, like where it draws cells, I guess, to one certain area to help it heal. It's just crazy stuff. Like
top of the line.
Literally,
stuff,
it almost feels like you're in a lab, and they're just
Really?
like, "We're gonna make you better." Like it's
And they
crazy.
have all the
Yeah, they
athletes.
do.
They have
Yeah.
moto and skate guys in there at the same time, right?
Yeah, totally. So when I was getting this done, I actually was getting PT alongside Tyler Bierman. We both used the same PT, Marco, at the time. It was pretty sick. Like, the gym is so cool because all these different people from all these different sports come in. Like, you meet F1 car racers, and like that's gnarly because they're a huge deal. And then like you meet moto dudes like Tyler Bierman, and it's just really dope.
Where do they put you up when you do this shit?
They put you up in this hotel called The Shore, and it's right across the street from the Santa Monica Pier, like overlooking the ocean. It's
That's
legit.
a good life.
Yeah.
Tell you what,
Yeah.
if I rode for Red Bull, I'd be like excited to just destroy my body. I'd be like, all right, let's go. I'm trying to go to the shore.
100%.
Just hurl your, just like leg buckle, like off the biggest jump, just in the air. All right, I'm heading to the shore, baby. Let's do this.
Let's go to the shore.
Yes.
And they do mental health stuff now too.
Yeah, actually,
That's so cool.
just this, like, right when quarantine started, they launched a small partnership with Headspace, which is like a mental
an app.
health coaching app.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's amazing.
I got it actually.
Really?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
use it.
It's dope. I've used it a few times, like when I can remember. It's great because like I have a hard time falling asleep at night sometimes, so I like do it before I go to bed. But
Does it help?
yeah, it
Yeah.
totally does. It's like a form of meditation, basically.
Really?
It's,
It's like
it's great.
tons of stuff
Headspace.
on there
I'm gonna
too.
have to
There's all
check that
kinds
out.
of different
Yeah.
things.
It's like a soothing podcast. So it's like this,
That's
but
what
like
I need.
with dudes and chicks that are like, ooh,
They
like
talk
have super.
I
extra
just
nice.
want you to get ready and calm.
Yes,
Settle
exactly.
it into your sleepiness.
You're gonna start putting our viewers to sleep
I
with that
know, I'm
voice,
about,
dog.
I'm about to pass out. Exactly. So like, it's just so cool because they have all these different outlets for whatever you need, essentially, and I think that's like pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's
Let's
awesome.
give
They
him a
get
damn
your-
air
Yeah,
horn.
it gets
Yeah.
you back like that. That's really cool.
Totally.
One thing that's kind of an interesting question is, how did you get on Red Bull?
Okay, I'm pretty sure that they wanted to sign this other girl,
Ha!
and it was for a bigger deal, and she said no, so instead, like, they split in half and got me and this other girl, Maddie Mastro, so
They got
kind of owe her, like,
They got two birds stoned at
Yeah,
once.
they
Yeah,
ended up
exactly.
getting two.
Did
and
they
it
know
worked
that
out.
they were getting the Allen Iverson of snowboarding is the question. You know? Well, you got to throw the headphones on because we have a
Oh,
guest question coming at you. And, you know, the guest question is presented by Solomon. Solomon Snowboard's website is live. They got all the new product. If you're looking to get yourself a snowboard, set of bindings, boots, head on over there. They got the best shit. Okay, here we go. Guest question.
Hey, Bombhole crew, it's Red Gerard. Got a question for Hailey. Wondering if we could get some insight on your first time on your snowmobile in Tahoe. Some of the fun you've had on it, and maybe some of the not so fun times it's put you through. Thanks.
great one.
that's
Great
a-
one.
Guest question from our friend Red Gerard, who beat me in fantasy football last week.
Yeah, so I randomly got my first snowmobile last year after the U.S. Open. Red and Sage and Ben were all filming for their movie Joy. And Aaron Blatt, the photographer, was just like, yeah, air horns. He was like, you should just buy a sled and you should come out with us. And I was like, oh, okay, like kind of not going to consider it. And then I don't know what happened. He just kept asking me to do it. And so a few days later, I freaking bought a snowmobile and drove up to Tahoe in my dad's truck, which, a little background on my dad's truck, it was a nice 2018 white Tundra, like souped up, super nice, like nice rims, nice tires, everything. And he loved that truck so much, he didn't let my brother or I in it for like the first 5 months that he had it. And so I'm begging him because I didn't have a truck at the time. And I'm like, can I please borrow your truck so I can go film? Like, this would mean so much to me. And it took kind of a lot of convincing. Not going to lie, Dad, I'm a little surprised. But eventually finally let me borrow it. And so he drove up with me to get my snowmobile in Elk Grove in Sacramento. And then I drop him off at the airport and he's like saying bye. He's like, take care of my baby, like talking about his truck. I'm like, yeah, Dad, for sure. And I drive up Tahoe, meet up with Sage, Ben, Brock, and Red, and the next day we go up, first time, and like had a great day. Like we're heading back down the mountain. I run into the back of this guy's truck, or his small little Jeep. It's a small Jeep. Run into it, like bent the shit out of my dad's bumper, and so bad. But anyway, the very next day, we're going back up, and we're riding up to whatever zone we were at, and I left my e-brake on from the parking lot.
On the snowmobile?
On the snowmobile. And, like, we're 7 miles in, I stop, and Red, like, looks over at me, and he goes, Hailey, you're on fire. And I'm, like, thinking, like, oh, he's, like, complimenting me, like I'm doing a great job. He's like, no, your sled is on fire. And I look down, and, like, dude, up in flames, and I'm like, what do I do? And his brother, Kai, who was filming us, he jumps off the sled, like, into full, like, fight mode. He's like, get off, put snow on it. He, like, rips off the side panel and starts tossing snow in it, like, puts it out. Couldn't use my sled the whole day. Brake was just gone.
No.
And so I take it down to the shop in Reno, and the dudes all look at me as I roll up in this massive truck and, you know, an 850. I have an 850 sled. And these guys are like, oh, is this your boyfriend's sled? And I'm like, no, it's mine. And I'm like, can't you tell I left the e-brake on? And they're like, oh, that's all right. Like, that's the 5th one this week. And they gave me so much money off to fix it because I think they were just stoked that,
really?
Like, yeah. So it was sick. I mean, yeah, my first 2 days sledding were not, definitely not the best, but
The machines are huge. Like
they're massive.
For somebody that's 5'2" trying to wrestle an 850, you have a major disadvantage there.
Definitely. And I like want to kind of hit myself in the head sometimes when I don't get it, but I have to remember, like, I mean, that machine weighs like 5 times more than I do.
Yeah,
I'm
more
like,
even.
Yeah. Totally.
Can't be afraid to keep her pinned out there sometimes too.
Yeah. No. Full throttle.
Yeah. Well, it's a tale as old as time with the e-brake.
Yeah, that happens a lot, I think, to people, to new people.
I think Kimi Fasani did it in one of the Burton movies. She burned her sled down to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, completely. So I got really lucky. It was just the braking mechanism that got fucked up.
I like the fact that you thought that Red was giving you a compliment.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm
on
like
fire.
My second day on a sled.
I'm doing all right out here.
Yeah. But I mean, he didn't say it like, "Oh my God, your sled's on fire." He goes, "Hailey, you're on fire." And I'm like, "Oh, like thanks." Nope. Just $10,000 sled I got the day before on fire.
I can't believe you just went out and bought a sled like that.
I mean, I did well that year, and I was kind of like, I'm gonna treat myself. Like I never buy anything, and also it's a write-off too.
Yeah,
so
true.
like
Good
that was kind of a no-brainer. But I mean, now it just like has implemented so much of me that all I want to do is film. Like,
yeah,
that's all I want to do.
Hit that Cab 10 dub ski into the powder.
I would.
That's what the people want to see.
Freaking love it.
Yeah, into the pow.
I'll tell you what. I let Buds borrow the snowmobile you're sitting over there, and it came back. Not in the same exact condition.
There was like a
did
little
not come back
screw or something. And I told you I'd replace it. You never
no,
sent me the info.
No. He tried to act like I wouldn't notice. Okay,
that is not true.
You never brought up the fact that there was a little latch missing.
No, Beresford and I discussed. We were like, did I do that or was it like that? And I'm like, I'm not sure. And he's like, I'm not sure. And we decided we'd let you figure it out.
Oh, is that what happened?
We discussed it. Yeah.
That seems a little fishy.
It wasn't fishy, dude.
Like a fishy operation.
I didn't know if I did it. I still don't know if I did it, to be honest.
I know that you did it.
All right, we'll see if you know, then you know. Beresford said you'd know, so.
Yeah.
But you never sent me the info to buy you a new latch.
It's about a $7 part. So.
I still would have got it for you.
Well, the thing is, I'd rather not have you do it, and I'd rather be able to bust your balls about it.
Oh, true.
You know, I'd rather
just
leave it
for
hanging.
blackmail.
That's fair, dude. That's fair. And I really appreciated sled use.
No problem.
Have you been back out on yours since?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you have?
Actually,
so now you're getting good at it?
I'm doing okay. I went to Whistler this year, which was crazy because my first time snowmobiling has been on in Colorado on Vail Pass, where most of it's groomed, and then in Tahoe where it's like mostly trees, so you can like kind of pitch your way through, and it's not too bad.
Pave a highway there.
Yeah, exactly. Canada was.
Did you get stuck or what?
I mean, I can't even count on my hands how many times I got stuck. Like, I'm like doing my thing, weaseling into other people's projects like I do, and like somehow I make it up to Canada with Red, Brock, and the Burton dudes. And we're going to like a secret spot deep in the backcountry, like 20, 30 miles in, and it's all unbroken trail. So you can already imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so tough, but honestly, I felt worse because it was an even tougher day for all those boys having to like help me flip my sled over, help me like get into line where I can definitely get up the hill. Like I can get on the rail like okay, but I'm not like, oh, I'm stuck. Like I can get out of it. So
Are you familiar with the pin and wiggle?
I am familiar with the pin and wiggle.
The old
yes.
pin and wiggle.
The pin and wiggle is a great technique. If you kind of bury on an 850, older sled it doesn't work, but a newer 850, you trench. You can. What I like to do is basically hold the sled wide open for minute, maybe 2 minutes. Just shake it violently back and forth,
eventually
it'll crawl itself out of its hole. It's
really.
These new machines, there is a chance you'll blow your motor. That will.
What?
But
you can blow a belt real fast like that.
It's not necessarily great for the machine, but it's
a
lot easier than shoveling.
Yeah.
So the pin and wiggle is a great technique to save your back.
The old pin and wiggle.
That's a hard one too for me because I weigh nothing and I feel like a lot of
You're hardly wiggling this thing?
Wiggle. It's a hard wiggle.
Yeah,
wiggle.
It's like a gnarly Stairmaster that you cannot ever accomplish. Like it's so hard. But I mean, I owe so much to like Red and Kai and Brock, and Aaron Leyland was up there filming us too, and they helped me so much. Like I feel pretty good on a sled now.
Johnny Roost is his name, right?
Yes,
Johnny
Roost.
Leyland, he runs a turbo, or Johnny Turbo. Is it Johnny Turbo or Johnny Roost? I can't remember. But
it's one of those.
He's
for
a neck.
Sure.
He will help you get out of any situation.
He is so gnarly. Just goes anywhere, and he's got like the longest track size you can get. It's like a 175, I think. He just goes everywhere.
He's got the damn turning radius of the Titanic on it.
Of the Titanic.
I'd say I prefer a 54 track myself. People are like, you don't want that. It wheelies too much. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You want to go 12 o'clock out there. You've been going. Have you hit any 12 o'clocks out there?
I mean, I've gotten to like not 12 o'clock.
Like 9 o'clock maybe?
I could
9
get
o'clock
up,
girls?
Yeah, I could get to 9 o'clock for sure. That's probably my best, honestly. I want to like it, and I do. I love it, but also I get so pissed because it's so hard, and especially because I come from like dirt biking growing up. Like dirt biking was one of the first things I did before snowboarding. So I'm like, why the fuck can I not get this? I don't understand it, but I mean, like you guys have said, everyone's got so much weight on me. I'm like,
yeah,
purposely.
I wonder why they got you on such a big sled.
I mean, sometimes I want to ask the camera dude to just give me his backpack so I got some extra
More weight.
Yeah, but those things are like 100 pounds.
Yeah, that would be
I know.
probably too much weight for you.
Yeah.
If you do CrossFit every day from now till the winter, maybe that'll help. Just kind of.
It still probably won't give her enough weight.
Just beef me up.
Well, you know what? What I'm wondering is, do any people in the competitive circuit use steroids? Because I think they should. I think snowboarding needs.
You want to get them on?
I'm taking a firm
You want to get them dosed up?
I'm taking a firm stance. Snowboarding needs steroids, for progression. What do you think?
I will say that this is the first time I've ever heard anything like that, but I could totally see it. I mean, like, I'm 5'2" and weigh 100 pounds. I could definitely use some roids.
Yeah. Juiced up.
I would love to see some dudes out there looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his 20s.
Let's push the progression.
Just like grabbing like bending their board, just
snapping in the air.
Like all kinds of aggression at the top of the course, roid rage.
Yes.
I think
arguing.
I'm not going to say. I'm going to take a firm stance. Snowboarding needs steroids. That's my official stance right now.
I don't know if people are going to get behind you in that, but I'm backing it. Why not?
Do they test? Do they test for pH?
Oh,
really?
They test for everything, probably.
Yeah. We haven't had to test in a few years since the Olympics, I think, but since the qualifiers year is coming back up, we're going to have to test, and it is gnarly. Like, you get 3 strikes, and obviously 3 strikes, you're out. And it's hard to get them. Like, you have to really try to get strikes, and I got a strike once.
You get 3 chances.
Yeah, so like
baseball.
Yeah, exactly. But with drugs and like.
That's nice.
Buds wouldn't do that well.
No.
Yeah, I would have striked out.
He would have stroked.
3 strikes is a stroke.
You would have stroked.
So you got a strike.
Yeah, but not because I do drugs or anything, because I don't. But like,
that's what they all say. That's what
I know.
Common words right there.
They give you this calendar that you have to fill out every quarter. So like you have to know where you're going throughout the season, which pain in the ass for like anyone that's in our realm. But
for sure,
I got a last minute invite to X Games Norway because I won X Games Aspen and I didn't get an invite. So I got automatically invited after Aspen, which was only a week before. And so like I flew straight from there to there and I forgot to put it down on my calendar.
And that's why you got a strike?
Yeah, but they have people show up to your house to test you. And so mine said that I would be at my parents' house. And I'm like, in Norway, sleeping. I get a call at 4 a.m. and it's my mom. My mom's like, there's a drug test lady here and she's been here for like 7 hours just like waiting for you because I was sleeping. So they're like waiting to hear from me.
Middle of the night there.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, so they won't leave until you change your schedule and you have to write like a letter to the organization explaining what happened. So I did all that, explained everything. And I still got a strike.
What organization? FIS or is it?
I don't. It's called USADA.
They literally sat there and waited until you changed your schedule.
She sat in her car waiting there for 7 hours.
Dude.
Yeah, like that's. I mean, I feel so bad for that poor chick.
Whoops.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that sucks.
My bad. I would probably get 3 strikes.
They watch the whole process like a drug court one, or is
yeah,
it like
it's gnarly.
Okay,
like
it's probably
they
gnarly.
Watch you like
pee or
pee
whatever.
in the cup. Yeah, it's crazy.
Not cool.
Mm-mm.
And it's totally unannounced, so they catch you off. They catch
you off guard, so you never know when they're coming.
Tell you what, I'm gonna go to one of these meetings and I'm gonna raise my hand and I'm gonna say, we need steroids.
Is weed legal these days or no?
No, that's like one of them.
Even if you're in California, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, when you're competing and they're doing the drug testing thing, like you can't do that, which I know is so funny because like I feel like a lot of snowboarders do it. And it's so funny when those times come around. You can tell who's stressing out about it. They're like, "Yo, you think I'm good?" We're like, "Oh,
you're not good.
Probably not."
Weed
but
stays in there a while, 3 months or something.
So funny. I think the last time I did one was this season in Europe for the Laux Open, and like it sucks too because at being an athlete and training at high elevations and competing, you drink a lot of water. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes when you take those tests, you'll pee in the cup and it'll be too diluted. And so they'll make you wait to redo it, but they give you water to drink. So you're just going to dilute more. And I don't know what happened, but when I took my test, because I think I finished like 4th or 5th, and so they test like top 3 and 1 random. And I was too diluted the first time, and then I ended up waiting another hour to take my next one, too diluted again. And so they were like, okay, this last one, if you're too diluted again, you just walk away. Nothing happens.
So we're talking urination. We're talking drug testing. I'm going to do a little pivot.
All right.
A little circle back, if you will.
A little double back.
We're going to double back. Now, Hailey, you were mentioning earlier you're homeschooled. And it's kind of interesting because I think a lot of people have this pre-notion that snowboarders are idiots or not intelligent because they don't have a school formal education. But I think a lot of these snowboarders that are not formally educated are some of the smartest people I know. And do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I definitely grew up with that stigma. Like some of my friends that I went to school with, that I meet up with, whenever I come home, they're like, "Oh, so you like smoke a lot of weed?" And I'm like, that's not really what we do. We're pretty focused. And I feel like, especially now, everyone takes care of their bodies really well. Everyone works out. We eat pretty clean. Like, I mean, I see even people here in Salt Lake that just film reels, they're working out on weekends, which is gnarly. And I mean, not only are they physically like motivated, they also are really into making mental health like a priority, And I think that with snowboarding being such an individual sport, and especially with the load on from like having Instagram and stuff, it's become a bigger issue than anyone would have ever thought it would have become. And it's it's hard with like a bunch of our good friends passing away the last couple years, and I think now everyone is really tight knit and there for each other. And not only that, but individually, I feel like everyone's taking it a lot more seriously. Like what we talked about earlier, using Headspace, that is a really good meditation app. I use it. It's really great. And, you know, even like some of the people that you would never suspect to be super intuitive about mental health, they're like some of the most educated people on the whole subject.
100%. Yeah,
That's cool.
And you kind of think there is an older stigma, I feel like, where back in the day it was like almost you look at like the Palmer era and it was like party, like kind of just this, but it's kind of a changing of the guards, and the shit is getting so gnarly. People are hitting their heads, they're getting concussions, and if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to be struggling. You have to.
Just going to be mush, and, you know, can't really enjoy life like that. I mean, you can, but, you know, you miss out on so many great opportunities. Like, I mean, school was pretty important for me growing up. Like, when I was in school, I went hard about it. If I got a B-, I was crying. My mom would be like, dude, a B- is awesome.
Oh, really? So you're an A student?
Yeah, I mean, I tried really hard. Like, I that's kind of like everything I do. I just, you know, I want to be good at it. I want to do it. I want to get it right the first time. And, I mean, as soon as I started snowboarding, you know, school became a lot harder because I traveled so much. And so I was pretty much teaching myself how to learn things in high school. But luckily for me, like, my mom found a way that I could graduate early. Like, as soon as I hit 10th grade, I was out of there.
Oh, you graduated at 10th grade?
Yeah, I was gone.
Ghost.
So, yeah, I got super lucky, and some people don't have those avenues either, but, you know, you can get your GED, and I think it's really important where people are, you know, they're keeping up to date, they're reading, staying educated on whatever the matter may be. You know, it's really important to keep your brain functioning. And, I mean, I don't think anyone besides snowboarders do that really well, besides, like, NFL players are probably right there. They're, like, I'm pretty sure that's their most reported injuries or concussions. So, I mean, brain health is super important, and, you know, I try to read books whenever I can because I feel like that helps me the most.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did cognitive therapy to heal my brain because I had 10 concussions, and that's one of the biggest things is just reading and remembering what you read.
Totally.
But
yeah.
Then
just getting your mind working, huh?
Yeah, getting your mind working, but circling back around to what we're talking about too is like also street smarts. There's like, you know, there's so much
traveling the world,
learning, traveling experience. You see Stony Buds, he'll meet somebody at 7-Eleven and, you know, they'll be like best friends because he just knows how to talk to people. And that's a skill that can't be taught, you know, and you learn that from snowboarding and traveling.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm catching up with my friends who are all in college now, and they're talking about like scientific notation, all this and that. And I'm like, well, I went to Korea. That was like pretty crazy, you know, and I think it just goes hand in hand, and like street smarts is definitely like a vital thing. It's like common sense. You need to have that. And so, I mean, it's just hard to draw the line where like education like meets, you know, the fluidity of both, you know.
Interesting
Seeing
topic.
those other cultures too is just so huge for
you
learning
learn
how the
so
world
much.
Works. How people are, and let them have their science, you know.
And then you travel, and then this happens to me. I'll go somewhere, and it's a lot like lower means, you know. And then you come home and you appreciate this place. You're like, holy shit, we have it good.
Totally,
New perspective.
Yeah, that's a true story. Yeah,
for sure.
Also, another thing, thinking about this community and snowboarding and the people you meet along the way, but it's not always what you know, it's who you know, and these relationships and those people you meet along the way. And all of a sudden you got a friend that lives in Colorado that you can stay with, and you got people all over the world. And that being said, you know, conventional school now is switching over to online classes. And I think, you know, a formal education, one of the biggest parts of it is the social aspect. So now if you take the social aspect out of formal education and you're just doing an online class, I don't know. I mean, it seems like you're missing a huge avenue there.
Yeah, a huge part of college is lost if you're only doing it online.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Well, yeah, I feel like that's where people learn connectivity with other people. Like, you can really read another person and like know how to interact with them, and that's especially huge in snowboarding or any kind of sport, business, whatever. You need to learn how to connect with people, and you know, it's kind of hard to do if you don't have that exposure.
I got a question, off topic. We're going to pivot. I just beat that word to death. But are you scared at the top of these slopestyle runs?
That's totally off topic. That's a great question. That's the best question yet.
Out of nowhere, but yeah, I mean, totally. You roll up to these contests and you're riding up the chairlift and you're like, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, nope. And it's so gnarly, but like, you know, I try to like downplay it to where I'm like scared shitless of it. But then as soon as you get over it, you're like, wow, I'm being like a huge pussy. It's really not that difficult. But yeah, I mean, these courses are building some insane things to where you would never even think it's possible to like get over the jump or hit it a certain way, like how they want you to hit it. So yeah, definitely.
Do you ever do this fake thing where when you're scared shitless, you're like, oh, this looks chill. But you're really just like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Because I do that sometimes.
Do you get more scared when it's actually your contest run, or by then you're chill because you've ridden it a lot?
Yeah, no, by contest run, it's totally chill. But yeah, I mean, I'll totally do. I think that's like kind of a thing in competition snowboarding. If like someone else is standing next to you, you're like, dude, this shit is like kind of fucked up. And you're like, oh, dude, it's mellow. But deep down, you're like, dude, I might like eat some shit right now. Like, it's for real. But yeah, I mean, that though just goes along with like contest snowboarding. You kind of like psych the other person out, and no one can say that they don't do it because I know we all do it. It's a little game of chess. Yeah, come on.
I do that on backcountry jumps sometimes when I'm like scared shitless. Like I'll go first. Like
you do that?
It's like I'll go first. Like I'm not even scared of this thing, but like really like fuck, I'm gonna die.
I was gonna ask about that because I've only hit a few backcountry jumps, and I've been in a position where I'm new, and so I'm like I can't be scared, and I hit it and like totally eat shit first go. Like with you,
we should get that footage because I heard it's crazy.
That's a good shot.
I really thought I broke my neck. Like,
oh damn!
At first, like when I was like falling to my head, in my head, I was thinking, I'm about to break my neck in front of all these people, first go. And it also psyched me out because while we were building the jump, Mia had asked Gabe to probe the landing. And he was like, oh, no, it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. And so I'm like floating in the air to my head. And I'm like, I'm going to hit this. Yeah, I'm like, probably not fine. And in the video, actually, you see I miss it by a foot.
A little rock.
Yeah, it was a rock. Yeah. So
holy shit,
that would have sucked.
You know it's a bad bail when you got a few seconds in the air to be like, this is going to be bad.
Yeah, when you're talking to yourself in the air.
Well, not only that, I had a full like 8 seconds, it felt like, as I was rolling down the hill after impact, just to be like, oh my God.
That country sucks.
No, I was like, God damn it, all these people probably think I'm a clown.
Everybody's ate shit.
I got another gripe. This is off topic, but it's kind of on topic. We're all over the place. So, all right, well, let's talk about these slopestyle courses. Like, you're looking at all these rails. Would it kill you to put a little panel in the middle of them, a little skirting to protect the riders? They got these exposed rainbow rails where it's like a femur waiting to get broken.
It's crazy.
Like, is it that hard to go to the hardware store, get some 3/4 inch plywood and throw it in between the rails? Like,
Parks all have it.
Yeah.
I think in competition.
Do you guys ever get mad about that? Because I am.
I mean, I feel like at this point we honestly don't notice, but it's definitely, we know it's all for show, and like it would suck if anything were to happen. Like, I mean, Dew Tour one year had an insane setup. The rails were literally like 10 feet off the ground. And the last set of rails, there was like one that was straight and then two that were coming in at angles into it. And I think it was Marcus Cleveland that hit it. And I mean, I was down there when it happened. Like, I was on the chairlift. I didn't see it. But like the scream that I heard.
He got worked?
He shattered his kneecap. It was like really bad. Yeah. And I mean, I totally agree. I think we could definitely like safe-proof these rails. It's gnarly. And
I almost feel like they could take the rails right out and it would still be just as interesting because it's not like street rails. You know
dude,
what I mean?
these guys are doing the Cab 270 McTwist off the
rails.
It's
a whole different sport.
Like, holy shit, that was crazy.
A nice back double 9 off the pole jam. Yeah, I know.
The thing is, it's like, 3/4 inch ply, 1/2 inch ply,
10-foot rails. I mean, what's going on out there?
If we could just like even like even 1/4 inch ply would do something. It. I'm saying just get something in between there.
Yeah, because you get.
I'd like to talk
there,
to
you're gonna go
manufacturers about that.
Totally, I think the gnarliest one I ever saw was at Mammoth. It was for a Grand Prix. and it ended up getting canceled due to weather, thank God. But one of the last rails before the first jump, it was a gap to up rail over an upstairs staircase. I mean, like, why? And you had to hit it really fast because there was like a gap at the end too, so you had to like hit it like traditional pole jam. But yeah,
Like a pole jam Euro gap?
it was it's so hard to explain. But like, just imagine like ramp, staircase, black rail up the staircase
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like, it was like pole jam essentially landing, and a lot of people got worked on that. I mean, why put the stairs up? Like, you know, it just didn't work out. And they get so gnarly, and like, we're talking to the builder like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, well, this is a pro event, so if you guys can't hit it, then you probably shouldn't be here.
That's what he says?
Yeah.
That is the biggest hardo move.
Yeah.
That's the hardo sentence of this century right
I kind of respected it at the time because I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. Like, that's some gnarly shit to say.
Yeah.
Some tough guy
you know?
shit.
Yeah.
Just full alpha male.
I'm sure inside, though, he was just tripping, like, I hope this works out. I hope this works out. Because if the shit doesn't work, it's kind of on them.
So do you prefer filming with men or women?
I actually haven't gotten to film with women yet.
Maybe just riding.
Oh, really?
Just riding.
Just riding in general. let's say.
Riding in general. Sometimes I like to ride with the girls when it's just cruising for sure. More like when I want to get something done and like when I want to learn something, I definitely want to ride with the guys, just because they're like, I mean, they're just so good at snowboarding, and it's so hard to like, you know, I want to be that good, and I want to say that like we're almost there. Like, we're almost as good as the guys. We just need a little bit more style and a little bit more like hardness like the guys. I don't know how else to explain it, but I mean, you guys are so gnarly. Literally just be at the top and be like, yeah, I'm just going to do this and drop in and do it and not even second think it. Like, that's a big issue for
It sounds like you do that, too, though.
Yeah.
Only to certain things.
The wrong two guys here. If you're sitting next to like Stahle and Mark Mick, you could say that. Maybe not me and Buds, though.
No, I mean, like, no, guys in general. Like, I'm sure, I mean, you doing Switch McTwist, like, back in the day.
Let's give an air horn to Switch
gnarly, yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. I mean, that stuff's so gnar, and, like, that's what I need. I need to ride with dudes when I'm trying to, like, do some gnarly stuff, for sure.
As far as the industry taking care of women, where are we at with that, and what do you think needs to happen? What are the necessary steps? Is it equal? What does it need to be equal? All that kind of stuff.
I think right now at this moment in time, it's come a long way, and I think it still has a lot more to go. But so far, you know, we have companies that are supporting the older women that are, you know, having families, which is so cool. I think that's awesome. Kimmy is about to have another baby, which is so rad, and she's still on Burton. And also, I think that there's a lot more, I want to say, revenue in women's snowboarding right now. Like, girls are hot and they're good at snowboarding. Like, I rarely these days go on Instagram and watch a girl post a clip that I'm like, oh, that was kind of whack. Like, I'm like, dude, this chick is freaking good, and I never heard of her. And so I think it's really cool. I actually don't know when this will come out, but, you know, Jill Perkins is getting some good deals, and she definitely deserves it, which is really sick. Like, I mean, she works so hard, and I've known her for a couple years. Pretty much, like, she started snowboarding only 2 years before I met her, and now she's like...
Yeah, that's what's crazy, huh?
Yeah, dude, she's so gnarly.
She got good fast.
Seriously, and she works really hard, and her parts are sick. She does, like, really hard tricks, too, on gnarly stuff, which I think is something to be noted. And, yeah, I think it's definitely in the right direction. What could change, maybe, is just giving women the avenue, like, opening the doors for them, and without us having to constantly, like, nag at people to put us on grams or whatever, you know, just open whatever outlet that is for us, because
more spots on the team.
Totally,
maybe.
yeah, be more inclusive on teams and stuff for sure. And I had a conversation with a rep that's up here right now, and he's like, yep, just looking at girls now, guy team full, don't care about them, need chicks. And I'm like, dude, that's sick. Yeah, so rad.
100%. I feel like also women, they buy, like, you know, they buy a lot of stuff too. And, so, you know, especially with the way it's changing now, where, you know, you have all different types of women. You know, you have like more masculine women, you have feminine women, and like the girly girls that maybe it didn't feel like it was as accepted to be a girly girl snowboarder. And that seems like it's bringing in with Instagram a whole new genre. You see it in skate, you know, and you're seeing it coming from snowboarding. And that's like, that just seems like a boom right now to me.
Totally. And I've heard you guys talk about it in your other like podcasts with the other girls about this too. And I think it's more so stepping back and not seeing someone as a girly girl or as someone that's more like a guy, you know, they dress a little more tomboy. It's about inviting everyone in no matter what, you know, and I think that's what needs to change for sure, because there's like girly girls all over the place, but they'll, you know, they might not feel welcome because they do dress like girly girls, and I think that's kind of the big deal, you know. Yeah
Make them feel welcome and
totally
make everybody feel welcome.
Yeah, like I don't give a fuck if you show up on the hill and you're wearing a dress, like just be cool and like we can ride. That's
what's up.
That's what it should be.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's well stated, the inclusivity. And like sometimes it's like about inclusivity, but not this group of people, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like there's always
really
like an
easy to do
asterisk.
that.
There's an asterisk associated with inclusivity, be it beliefs or whatever it is. And so it's like it's just blanket inclusivity. That was well said.
Totally. Well, it's also being a competition snowboarder and traveling a lot. I have met so many different girls that have so many different styles. You know, some of them are still wearing the super tight pants from like 012, like super tight pants, and some of them are just like baggy, never left snowboarding, you know. And I just like, let's not even focus about that anymore, because I've heard people say, you know, I don't want to see these girls in tight pants like riding rails. I want to see like stees and like oversized tees. And what's the oversized stee gonna do? Like same style, same person, just you know, like let's look past that. And I mean, I think that brands have been doing a really good job. Like I will say Burton has a really cool program where they do a Burton Girls Ride Day where any girl can come ride for free that day, I think is what it is.
Really?
Yeah. When I was on Burton, I went to a few and it was really cool. I met a lot of really cool girls, any skill level, whatever, from any
Everyone's
age.
invited.
Yeah. It's really rad.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's killer. I love hearing that stuff. And it's also cool, like, you know, having like a significant other, like when you're younger, you're like, I don't want to ride with the girls, right? As you get older, you want your significant other to be able to go snowboard on a POW day or something like that. That's awesome when that starts happening, you know? You're like, yeah, I want to go with my girlfriend. I don't want to go with anybody else, you know? So that's kind of cool from a dude's perspective, where when you're younger, you're like, I don't want to date a girl that snowboards. That's how I was when I was a kid.
Were you like that?
Yeah. I was like such an idiot. Like, yeah, so kind of funny. But you did say there was one trend you weren't particularly fond of.
Yeah, the sweatpants. Yeah. Is that, yeah. I don't know. It's just me, you guys. Don't take it personally if you do. I'm just hating because I can't pull it off. I wish.
Not a fan of the track pants.
Well, I'm sure you could pull it off just fine.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe that's something I just need to look past.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah.
So what's next for young Hales?
Hopefully this season we can figure out contest schedule or something, but on the forefront of what I want to do for this season is definitely film. That's my goal. Film, and then I have one qualifier this year for the Olympics before the official Olympic qualifier next year, so hopefully do that, and I hope to do decent, so I don't have to.
You have one contest you got to do?
Yeah.
For the Olympics?
Yeah, so they do like a pre-contest before the year of the actual qualifying for the Olympics, and that contest helps out a lot. So if I can do good there, then I won't have to work as hard.
If you don't do good, though, you still have a chance?
Yeah, I still have a chance. Cool. It'll just be hard, like, especially now because the U.S. team has so many girls on the team. Before, when I first qualified, I qualified third, and it wasn't really that hard because we didn't have that many girls on the team. But this year we have a lot of younger up-and-comers, which is so weird to say for me because I'm only 20, but
yeah, right.
They're all so much younger than me, and I'm just like, shit. I'm like that old lady just hogging up the spot.
That old lady,
you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, hogging the spot at 20.
What I was wondering is you go by the nickname Young Hales, right? Mm-hmm. At what point
I mean, this is a question we could ask a lot of rappers.
Yeah,
too,
a lot of times when you look at a young Jeezy, right?
Right.
And so at one point, he's just Jeezy.
Yeah.
Is he just Jeezy?
Yeah, he's just Jeezy. That's his thing.
He finally.
So at what point do you drop the young Hales and just go Hales?
Honestly, I did drop the young
you
on
did
my
drop.
20th birthday.
I
did it to
update
my.
your Wikipedia last night. It still says Young Hales.
Are you running it? Maybe, yeah. You might want to.
I'll go on there and start running it for you. We'll get it updated.
Thanks. I would appreciate that. Yeah, no. As soon as I was out of the teens, I said it to myself in confidence. I was like, yeah, maybe it's time to let go.
At 20.
Yeah, at 20.
I'll tell you, for me, to me, the age would be like 27.
Yeah, I would have went like 32.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, so.
Oh, you know how
Just
it
to
goes.
keep people guessing. You
Everyone wants to be older when they're younger,
Yes.
and then like when you're old, you're like, this sucks. But yeah, back to like that random.
Buds, can you vouch for that?
What do you mean? I never said I didn't say this sucks. I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't suck though. Everyone's gonna get there.
I'm just referring to that rando DM that I got on my birthday. Like, oh, enjoy 20, but you know, once you pass that one, it's just downhill from there.
It's true. I would have said
that's
21
not true.
though.
Couple things. Rental car.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I'm waiting for that.
You can't even rent a rental car yet.
A rental, isn't it get cheaper at 25 or 27?
You can't even rent them until 20 something.
You can, but for like $700 more or something. Yeah.
Also, something people forget: when you get really fucking old, you can say whatever you want, and people don't care.
Yeah.
Like you can just say anything. They're like, "Oh, that guy's fucking old. It's all right. Just don't worry about it." You know,
he's losing it.
He's losing it. I'm looking.
You also just learn a lot over the years. You know,
Totally.
just knowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
That kids don't listen to you when you say it to them.
Yeah. The only reason why I'm like really putting into the old lady vibe is I did an interview a few months ago, and the guy was like, so, you know, you've been around for a while. Not gonna lie. And he's like, you're kind of like one of the veterans. And I'm like looking at the girls who are actually veterans on like competing status. Yeah. They're like 30. I'm like, dude, I'm nowhere near that age. Like, I'm not old.
Yeah,
I'm not a veteran.
vet.
But I mean, now I'm just kind of like, well, I'll take it, because all these new girls that are coming up are like 15. Like the same age I was when I was coming up. Yeah, so I'm kind of like,
did you learn your shit to airbags? Is that the new generation? They all land, or did you take it to snow?
No, I was a take it to snow person for sure.
Let's give an air horn to that.
Thanks.
But the kids are going to airbags now?
Yeah, and I mean, I've tried it out, but nothing that I've ever done on an airbag, I haven't already done on snow. So it's kind of just like, you know, whatever. But yeah, a lot of the kids coming up now, I mean, everyone's like got one in their backyard.
They get their own airbag.
I mean, it seems as if, but no, they just have access to like some of the best like
all
manufactured.
Summer they're chucking into airbags.
Yeah,
all summer when I'm figure it out for them.
Yeah, all summer when I'm like laying out by the pool getting served drinks I shouldn't be getting served, you know. I'm like looking on Instagram, these freaking young girls are doing like back double 12s on the airbag, and I'm like, oh shit, like I'm on vacay mode right now.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure that kid Valentino's dad has a full airbag set up for him on their property.
I've heard, I've
seen
heard
footage
in his
of it.
backyard or
in his
something
backyard,
like that.
this crazy setup.
Yeah, I heard him say like some crazy quote, and everyone that knows the quote likes to talk about it. But I heard him say essentially that like now he's gonna have tricks that even no kid in slopestyle will ever have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, heavy claim.
Bold statement.
Yeah, very.
He is pretty good for his age, though.
He is definitely talented. I mean, that's like all the young kids now.
Yeah, they're all just insane.
Like,
huh?
Yeah, but I mean,
if it's all numbers game, right? You do 100 back tens.
True.
A summer into an airbag.
You're gonna get like, your grabs better and.
Yeah.
Buds has an airbag experience recently.
Really?
When I totaled my car. True story. I've been on the airbag for sure. Every airbag in my car went off.
Did you get whiplash?
I did, but
we get
airbag was
we get whiplash
soft,
too.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was harsh. No, the airbags in those new Subarus are soft.
Oh, that's.
I just got more whiplash from the seatbelt and the actual whiplash.
Did you get hit from behind?
I got hit from like every side pretty much.
Didn't you say they're soft like pillows?
Yeah, they're soft like silk pillows almost. These
that's
Subarus,
nice.
yeah, lifesaver.
That's good.
But,
yeah.
I got hit from like three sides all at once, pretty much.
Did you come out saying, "Oh, my back and my neck"?
I should have. I got pulled out of the car by some lady, actually.
Get that money, Stone.
I'm just like, I'm okay. Leave me alone. I was just making sure I wasn't going to get arrested or anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I was all right. The cop was cool.
That's
so
good.
Where can people find you on the gram and all that stuff?
Yeah, just search up Hailey Langland, my name. I'll be right there.
Not Young Hales.
Not
just
younghales.com.
Just Hales.
But Twitter is actually still Young Hales, but I haven't touched it in years, so
Yeah.
not a lot of activity on that. But yeah.
All right.
You on TikTok with all the other kids or no?
No, I'm not on TikTok. It's so funny because all my friends are on TikTok.
They're all about it, huh?
They're about it, but Instagram is already too much.
Yeah, it's
and
too
I'm
much
like,
to handle,
I'm
right?
like, please, not another one. But
That's what I'm saying.
it is pretty funny to see some of the videos that come up. Like
there's
some of
some
them are
funny shit.
hilarious. Yeah.
I'd like to see Buds on the TikTok doing the dances.
I was just about to
I've
say,
been on there.
I could totally see you doing the TikTok like.
I was on there once with one of my nieces or something, made us all dance and put some videos up.
Nice.
It was fun, too. It was a good time.
That's awesome.
But I don't have my own TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm not down. It's too much. I mean, just having a gram is too much, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Might have to get like a bomb hole TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should strictly film Buds dancing. I'm in. All right. I think we did it, guys. I think it's been a great episode. Hales, you got anyone you want to thank?
Just my parents. Shout out to my mom, Michelle, and my dad, Jeff. They're awesome. Little brother, Seth. And yeah, all my sponsors. I'm really stoked with where I'm at in snowboarding, and I'm looking forward to the near and distant future. Hopefully it's not too short.
You'll be an old head before you know it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
True
hopefully I'm not like retired in the next 10 years.
It really will go by that fast either way, whether it's 10 or 20 or whatever. It'll be a blink of an eye. Props to your dad, though, man. He sounds like a really cool dude.
He is like my best friend. Yeah.
Sounds like a G. We'll have to meet him someday. Sounds like a good person.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Jeff, is that what you said?
We got
We
got
leave
prints
that in, dog.
available of Hales, not Young Hales, at bombhole.com, and we will see you guys next week. We really appreciate you guys listening, watching. Over and out from the Bomb Hole.